Charlie Sheen is an actor known for his iconic roles in 2.5 Men, Wall Street, and Platoon, rising to fame in the 1980s and becoming a household name in Hollywood. He went from growing up in the shadow of his famous father, Martin Sheen, and brother, Emilio Estevez, to becoming a star in his own right. However, his rise to fame was stained by struggles with addiction, leading to highly publicized personal battles. At one point, Sheen even faced bankruptcy, but despite these setbacks, he fought back, rebuilding his career and becoming an advocate for mental health and recovery, proving that resilience can lead to redemption. Need motivation?
Watch the top 10 with #BelieveNation.
If you've been here before, drop a #Believe in the comments below so I can feature you here in a future video. And if you're new, welcome to Believe Nation, the only channel that helps you believe in yourself daily, one video at a time. Okay, let's kick it off with rule number 1. Learn from your mistakes.
Being universally rewarded for these preternatural gifts, whether it's appearance or abilities, could in some ways be a devil on your back, because a life without consequences can lead to some bad choices and a false feeling of invincibility.
Of course it can. Of course it can. Yeah. And there's also, there's this thing about, not having to deal with a ton of failure at first. You know, there's a little piece in the book where I mentioned that they teach us as kids, if at first, you don't succeed, you try again. If at first you do succeed, that's where that saying ends, because it was never written. It doesn't exist, And then it's like, even talking about, watching Dad, with his ascent to stardom and his brilliant career, and then watching Emilio, I thought that I would have a handle on what that might feel like once, were I fortunate for it to happen to me as well, even on a smaller scale at just a fraction of what they'd achieved. But there's no way to really prepare anyone for it. There's no way I guess in some way it'd be like asking, Barry Bonds or Hank Aaron, what it actually feels like to hit a home run.
Mm-hmm.
They can describe the mechanics of it, but they can't really ever put you inside a moment that you have to inhabit to truly own that experience. And so watching it and then living it was a whole different reality. But then it's nice to have people you can check in with and say, hey, okay, so this happened with the thing, and then I saw how you dealt with that, and then any recommendations, any ideas, but even the advice sometimes it's well intentioned, but that doesn't mean that it's going to be useful. And I don't mean that dismissively, just that giving people advice for things that they have to experience.
Yeah. Doesn't work.
Is that making sense? Is that
we all learn that as
bit?
parents. Yeah. We all learn that as parents. You want to spare your kids all the pain and anguish you experienced by telling them the life lessons you learned. And I mean, I've concluded 15 years into motherhood, it's not a complete waste of time, but it's really close to a waste of time. They have to make their own mistakes in order to really learn the lessons.
Sure. It's pretty close to a waste of time. That's brilliant.
Rule number 2, have gratitude.
No, I don't believe in failure. I don't believe. And I mean, let's face it, I've been through some pretty difficult.
I did.
But they say stress kills, and I refuse to recognize it as stress. So you know what I call it? Hassle. You know why? Because no one ever said hassle kills. No, seriously. I'm just like, I'm being hassled. If I'm like, I'm all stressed out, then, stroke, thing, boom. Back at mom and dad's.
Yeah.
In our darkest times, I've always believed you just dig a little deeper and just get into a place of gratitude. Okay, this went to but this, and this didn't. And there's still all these bitchin' things, and there's a couple of, things over here that, you just accept and deal with and just forge through. The mission takes priority. The mission takes priority.
Rule number 3, take accountability.
Can you pinpoint kind of what spurred on that reset? Like what just made you decide, okay, we got to stop this and we have to do something different and take this time out before you reemerged?
You mean like when I put down the bottle finally,
Right.
or decided to do these projects?
Story with your daughter.
With Sam, and Tony. That was a big moment. But there were you'll see it in the book when there's moments along the journey, along that same path, leading right to that day in that car.
Yeah.
When that moment arrived, when that revelation just really kind of hit me, So all the signs were there, especially the signals that my body was sending me were not subtle. When your body's trying to like turn itself inside out, when it's, when there's blood where it shouldn't be, but I think it's interesting that, maybe I'm just one of these guys that had to have a little more evidence than the average bear, that, and who knows if that's connected to, that kind of behavior, those choices for that long. Is it connected to, well, that's, that's part of my identity. That's part of who I'm convinced they see me as. So I want to live up to that, which is it's usually rooted in fiction. Yeah. I think people have always, wanted, had hoped that at some point I would start making better choices, but it was finding its way into the workplace. And the book talks about that, where that's where I drew the line, that no matter what was going on at the parties or the successes or any of the other stuff, as soon as I got to the set, it was all right. This is the place, this is the arena, this is the forum that's sacred, But again, that became negotiable,
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you kind of reached that point, and
I am too. I am too.
Yeah.
But then the amount of time that transpired between, getting off the sauce and then being able to take on these two projects, or to be willing to see where they might lead me, or how they would feel if I did them. There had to be some distance. I had to have some perspective,
Sure.
And the thing that I've talked about a little bit, that was really a trip, and it was a gift, and I mean, an oddly wrapped gift at times, in that, like, as soon as I quit, like, all my kids started showing up. I mean, not that they were on a different planet or in a different country, but just that they were, like, immediately a part of my life again. And so it created a need to be accountable and be responsible and be available,
It's like an immediate reward.
An immediate reward,
Yeah.
but also, a call to action in a way that I think the universe knew that I needed, like that level of a goosing.
Yeah.
Welcome back. By the way, this
Yeah.
is going on today.
Yeah.
And so much of that time that wasn't devoted to movies and TV and fiction and fame and seeking all of that was just family.
Right.
And I think that was key. That was just like I knew I'd made the right decision when that was the first challenge, but blessing at the same time.
Rule number 4, experiment.
This podcast that I do is called Fail Better. You didn't fail. You came out of high school, you started booking jobs left and right.
But I failed my way out of high school, and I failed my way out of. I
will accept that.
And I failed at baseball.
Well, I mean, you're a good pitcher. Yeah, pretty good. I mean, you're not a pro, but that's not really failing. Most people.
But I'm saying it didn't feel like those were that was the thing that I really thought I might have had a chance to do.
So you really wanted to be a pro pitcher?
For a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But wait, let me finish.
Sorry.
I just wanted to know what you thought you wanted to do. You know, once you gave up baseball, once you gave up whatever the other dreams were, as an actor, because I think you're competitive, right? You're a competitive guy. You say that in the book.
Right.
What was that competition for? What did you want? Did you want fame? Did you want money? Did you want awards? Or was there an acting ambition also?
I wanted access. I wanted access. To what, you're wondering?
Well, I didn't want to cut you off because I'm like...
No, I am
wondering.
I wanted an opportunity to explore the same things that I was watching Emilio do, like right over there. And because he started professionally acting when I was still in high school. Mm-hmm. And so then when I got tossed out, I would tag along with him, the stuff you read in the book, you know?
Yeah.
And still was close to it, but never a part of it. And so that was the thing so the acting thing, the passion for it, I think I discovered as I started doing it. And as I got more comfortable, or at least feeling like, okay, this is something that could have legs, you know? This is something I think that and it's not, you know, I just wanted to be consistently employed. I just wanted to pay the bills and be in stuff that you know, be in films that I'd like to watch, you know? And then, well, you know, suddenly that one thing happens and you're in a much different place than you could have ever envisioned or imagined or possibly hoped for.
Also, if you want to take real action after this video, I made a free worksheet just for you. It covers the top lessons from today, gives you space to write down your biggest takeaways, and helps you build a simple action plan. It's 100% free. Just click the link in the description below to go grab it. I'll see you there. Rule number 5, face your challenges head on.
Do you feel like now that it's all out, do you feel any kind of sense of, you know, more freedom, more empowerment, that, you know, there's really nothing else to hide? You know, you just kind of let it all out there.
There's a sense of relief, yeah. And I'm pretty sure that now I am extortion proof.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Scotch guarded my whole thing, you know, moving forward.
Yeah. And when you mentioned that in your documentary about, you know, somebody like taking pictures in your medicine cabinet, you know, I figured, just let it out there. Who cares, you know?
Well, that was the thing that helped. That was the reason for the Matt Lauer revelation interview back in 2015.
Yeah.
So that was a moment to breathe. And then this chapter, talking about some other stuff that Renzi said, look, there's rumors about, you know, certain things, and let's just meet them head on.
Yeah.
And I did. But it's you can, you know, I couldn't predict how it was going to be received, but I did have, I had faith, or I was hoping that it would feel better out here than it did in here for a long time.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that's part of that, that thing, just waiting to exhale. You know, I waited a long time.
Yeah.
That was a deep breath.
Rule number 6, don't take everything personally.
What would you tell 20, 30, 40-year-old Charlie? What advice would you give him?
You mean as a 60-year-old looking back at that guy?
Yeah.
Don't take everything so personally. And save your frickin' money. That's pretty sound advice, you know?
It's an important one.
Yeah, sock some away, young man.
Rule number 7, own your story.
How do you feel about kind of, you know, letting it all out like that and just kind of letting people know everything about you?
It's been a process at a pace I wasn't quite anticipating. But what I wanted to do was, you know, tell these stories in a way that they've never been heard before. You know, because a lot of the stuff never came from the actual guy at in the eye of the storm. You know.
Yeah.
And in doing that, you know, it was interesting that the genesis of the doc and the book, they came together at almost exactly the same time. And so in doing all the research with the director, Andrew Renzi, for the doc, it started getting my brain ready to not just speak these stories in very colorful detail, but also start to prepare how I was going to create them on the page. So one was warming up the other at the same time.
Yeah.
But the director and I decided that, look, if we're going to do this, I'm only doing this once. There's no reason to do like a follow-up documentary. It's like, here's the stuff we left out. Just put that in the director's cut, right? But if we're gonna do it, let's do it once and do it right.
Yeah.
And so he was really thorough as far as doing a really detailed deep dive into so much of my history, like recalling things and asking me about stuff that I'd pretty much forgotten, either by choice or just through time,
Sure.
And so when we both landed on like what, the level of honesty, the level of just openness, how cathartic I wanted this to be, that really informed the book as well. And I'm not saying that if you've seen the doc, you don't have to read the book, because they're two different ways to express similar stories, but when the stories overlap is, I think, where the book can tell some of them, I don't want to say better, but just differently, more from an internal place. And also, like telling a story on camera for like 7 minutes, it has to be, it has to be presentational.
Right.
That same story on the page, and I've got 2 weeks, and I'm by myself, and it's just me and my brain and a keyboard.
Yeah.
Then it can take on a fuller life.
Rule number 8, put your ego in check.
So you scored your first big film role like 3 weeks after flunking high school.
Yeah.
And you've been, the son of Martin Sheen, the brother of Emilio Estevez, and suddenly you're this big star in your own right.
Right.
What did that do to your head and your ego?
Well, it didn't happen like that. There was like 2.5, 3 years. It felt longer because of all the activity in that time frame. What did it do to my ego? I think it was more about what it was going to do for my confidence. I don't really feel like I was a guy that led with ego. I was a guy that put on a facade that perhaps there was more ego there than there really was, because when things start happening at an accelerated pace and suddenly the stakes get elevated with each opportunity. There's a thing about am I really ready for this? Shouldn't they have like checked me out? Shouldn't they have looked under the hood a little longer, or a little more thoroughly before just trusting me? Well, here, let's just do this giant big thing.
Were you ready?
I don't think so. I think some of the work is pretty good. I think some of the work was up to the task.
Rule number 9, don't let drugs steal your life.
When I had Gabor Mate on the podcast.
Okay.
He doesn't ask what's wrong with drugs. He says what's right with them. What does it give you? At first, it gives you something.
Sure.
Before it takes away your life.
Everything, yeah. What did it give before it took everything away?
Yeah.
I think it gave me just a little bit of distance, just a little bit of a barrier from this.
Me?
This. No, just you as an example. Yeah. Just from things that I didn't really want to engage, but had to. There was also like a really intense sexual component to a lot of the drugs. And so that's when that happens early on, and that's like the first thing that really that's the first bridge you build. That's one that will stay. That's one you'll keep walking across. But then it's like, someone asked me the other day, do you miss drinking, right? Because booze was the last thing to go. I was, didn't care about the dope anymore, and I was like, I'll just drink. I got this, right? And that turned into like the gnarliest, like the most insane, the most difficult drug for me to deal with was booze. And people don't even look at it as a drug.
No.
Hey, it's booze. Come on, And so I had to finally accept the fact that that the only part of the drinking that I could navigate was the first hour. Just the first hour, because the first hour is like the best hour of anything. It's like my most favorite thing in life is the first hour of drinking. Seriously, kids, marriage, all that. I don't care. Give me the first hour of drinking, right?
Okay, I'm not a drinker.
Okay, but
I get it.
But it's the next 500 hours, know. Or just the next 12 hours.
Right.
And so that's, so once I could just abandon that fantasy of living inside that hour, then it's not a big deal.
And number 10, the last one before a very special bonus clip, is have fun.
Look at you, Seth. You've got the spray-on tan, the waxed eyebrows, the pec implants, halogen teeth, the bleached anus, the scrotal tuck, nipple enlargement, taint augmentation. But I got to admit, I envy you. You've got boatloads of money, 3 TV shows, and still, even with all the work you've had done, you can walk down the street totally unrecognized.
What's been the hardest part of healing, if you like, and I guess writing the book as well, telling this story? I mean, you talk about how have you processed the things you talk about, the shame,
right,
the guilt, turning it into, a positive future.
What's been the hardest part?
Yeah.
I don't know that there's been one hardest part.
Yeah.
I think when I dove into this thing, I knew I knew the size of the mountain that I was, being tasked with scaling, conquering,
Yeah.
But I stopped looking at the summit. I started looking at the various base camps that I would set as goals on the journey to finally get there. And so I really liked the view from the top, but getting there was pretty intense.
I bet.
Yeah.
A whole lot of stuff to confront and work through.
But it also had to be approached in a very laser focused, Virgo brain, organizationally laid out approach. I can't construct something without an outline. I can't pack for a trip without an outline.
Right.
So how would I not use one for a book?
And congratulations, you're 1 video closer to who you're meant to be. Believe. For 10 more amazing rules from Will Smith, check the video right there next to me. I think you'll love it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
People don't really realize what it takes to win, right? And it's like there's a really great quote. Don Simpson, who was one of the